We're going to talk about inequalities now, graphing inequalities. If you want to know how to solve inequalities, solving an inequality is the same thing as solving an equation. So if you have a multiplication inequality, go to the video that says multiplication equations and solve it the same way, just don't put an equal sign. Put one of the inequality signs. That could look like any of these. These are signs that mean inequalities. This is the sign that means equality. Inequalities. Alright. Let's take a look at graphing an inequality. Let's say that you have this. Z is less than 13. To graph this, we're going to want to put this on a number line. And the way that I set up the number lines always is we have the number that we're looking at goes in the middle, and then we do one less and one more. So we have our number line. You really only need two numbers for a number line just to make sure that people know which direction it's going, but I find it's easier to do one number on each side. That way it's easier to show for shading. So for Z is less than 13. When you hold up your hand like this, kind of like you're making an L, the letter L is on your left. When the variable is on your left, you're able to just follow this arrow to show the direction you want to point. So we're going to shade in everything that is to the left of the 13. So we're shading in our number line, making sure that we can tell it's shaded in. Now, we're saying everything less than 13 can fit in for Z. That means we could fit 12, we could fit 12 and a half, we could fit 12 and 9/10, but we can't fit 13. So to be able to show that we're talking about 13 but not using 13, we're going to put an open circle right on the number 13. And you know what, that is a little bit off center, but you get the general idea. So that's how you graph an inequality. Let's look at another one. Let's look at x is greater than -2. Now, when you have this inequality, we're using negative signs. That's perfectly okay. You can use negative signs, you can use decimals, you can use fractions, you can use any type of number when you're graphing. So don't let that throw you off. So we're going to put our -2 here. I'm going to go one number less than -2, which is actually -3. Then I'm going to go one number more than -2, which is -1. Now, because the letter or the variable is on the left, we can just follow the direction of this arrow. So we're going to be shading in this way. So I want everything that's bigger than -2. But we're not talking about -2 because this just says less than. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an open circle on -2 to show that we're not talking about -2, we're talking about everything that's above it. Then let's talk about graphing W is greater than or equal to 9. And the way that you graph this is really the same thing as the way that you graphed greater than instead of greater than or equal to, which I don't think I said before. So we're going to put our number line. We always have to make sure to put the arrows because the arrows mean that the numbers go on forever. So we're going to put our 9 here. We're going to put one number less, which is 8, and one number more, which is 10. So because this arrow, the letter is on the left, so the arrow is pointing this way, so we're going to shade in to the right. So we're going to shade in everything above the 9. And now our sign here says greater than or equal to. The or equal to is a pretty important part because this says we're talking about everything above 9 and the number 9. So to show that we're talking about and including the number 9, we're not only going to shade in this whole line, but we're also going to shade in the circle for number 9. That tells us that we're talking about the number 9 and everything above it. And then let's look at one more. Let's look at 40 is greater than or equal to V. This looks different. This is not what we've seen before. The letter is not on the left, it's on the right. Because the letter is on the right, we have to read this arrow backwards. Because to make an L with your left hand, you have to flip it over backwards. So we're going to flip the sign over backwards. So we're going to put our number line first. 40, 39, 41. And now here's the trick. The letter's on the wrong side, the variable's on the wrong side. So what we have to do is, instead of following the arrow, we're going to go the opposite direction. So we're going to shade in everything under the number 40. We're still including the number 40 because of the and equal to. So we're going to put a big old dot there. The reason that this works is because if we have 2 is less than 3, if we switch these two numbers around and we switch the sides, 3 and 2, this sign is not going to stay the same. You're going to have to flip this sign to keep the little mouth trying to eat the 3. So if we were to flip this around to still keep this true, we would get V is less than or equal to 40. That's why it's very important that you pay attention to which side the letter is on.